You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Margaritaville.
This is going to be a bad episode. I'm so sorry.
All right, yeah. We fucked off the pints and bought on the
Margaritas. We've got bare feet. We've got margaritas.
I don't have bare feet. I'm just wearing thongs, all right? It's the middle of summer. I can wear thongs.
It's 21 outside.
I don't care. If you think that thongs 3 days before Christmas is perfectly acceptable when doing a podcast about a free-to-play video game, give us a like, thumbs up, and subscribe.
And comment if you don't,
Anyway,
just so I know.
Hi, I'm Davey.
And I'm Mitch.
And we are... the
Bargain Bin Gamers.
Let's do it again.
Yeah,
All
okay.
All right, let's do it again. Hi, I'm Davey.
And I'm Mitch.
And we are
The Bargain Bin Gamers.
Coming to you live and festive and free on the BQN Podcast Network. We are the podcast, YouTube show, and Twitch channel where we play the cheapest and shittest video games out there.
So you don't have to.
Yeah, but we might find a couple of hidden gems along the way.
Like today's episode.
Today is all about gems that are either hidden or just in plain sight for everyone to see. So, look, hey, Feliz Navidad, Mitch.
Cumpleaños y felicidad.
Which one's that?
That's the one you say after Feliz Navidad.
Oh, is that like in a Happy New Year?
Feliz Navidad. Yeah, and it's a Happy New Year, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was like, come on, bro.
Well, this is our final episode for 2024, and it's been an adventure.
What a year.
What's been one of the highlights of your gaming year?
Starting here was a highlight of my gaming because, to be honest, prior to doing this with my darling friend, I was getting into a little gaming slump, but now I've been reinvigorated. So my other gaming highlight for the year would have been, oh God, not much. Maybe today's topic was quite a reinvigoration of my passion of a previous title that we'll also touch on.
I think we're taking it out on a really strong point here. So I'm totally with you on that.
Yeah.
So
what about you?
Oh yes. We do this. We have banter.
We drink margaritas.
We did. We have had a few margaritas today, listeners and viewers. But yes, geez, it's been a big year. It has been a big year. Look, and I will agree. I think bringing you on as co-host and turning this show into what it is today and how much fun it's made doing the show and seeing you plump up your tits like you just did it's been fun. I look forward to it every week we do it, which is every second week.
Yeah, it's a passion project.
It is a passion project. It's this little thing that we've just gotten to do together as friends where we go to the pub next door to the studio. We were having beers, but then, trying to stop ourselves from farting and burping throughout the whole podcast. Today we had margaritas.
Oh, and they went down a fucking treat.
They did go down.
Margaritas are the weight of my soul and the weight of my heart.
Yeah,
everyone knows that. So.
Absolutely. We might go have another one after we're done.
I wouldn't mind.
It's the weekend.
Yeah, Davey's in silly season mode as well because I'm still working next week, whereas he's all done. So he's ready to just deck the holes.
Deck the holes and lick my balls. We're just throwing caution to the wind here today at the Bargain Bin Gaymer. Something else I will say, though, is the way that we've really pivoted this show away from some of those trashy, shitty, scam-worthy games.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff we've got to done, like some of the meeting the Melbourne Gamers and going and meeting For Knife Games and all of the other queer indie devs at PAX. It's been a really, really good experience.
Yeah, it has been a good pivot. I mean, I love a shitty game as much as the next person, but Davey has a bit more patience for bad games. I, on the other hand, don't care for really bad games. I mean, I'll happily make fun of them, as seen by our, what was that shitty game called again? Who cares, actually? But I love ripping games to pieces, but I hate playing bad games. Whereas we've been very lucky. We've had a nice assortment, a charcuterie of games, some might say.
A Cadbury's favourites.
A Cadbury's favourites where, you know, the Oros are left in the bottom.
The Moros.
The Moros. Ugh, haters. Yeah. But no, it's been really, really fun. And like I said, I'm glad to be here. I'm sure you're happy to have me. So it's been a nice win.
Look, I'm mildly tolerating of you. It's good.
Oh my God, Jodie, are you in the room? Mum.
So, look, today we've got a couple of things that we want to cover off for our final episode. I did promise last time we were on the airwaves that we were going to do a Christmas special of sorts. Now, here's the thing. A good, worthwhile Christmas game, like a game that's worth actually playing.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist.
It's not around.
It's not a thing. You go and search for Christmas on any of the digital storefronts and it's just garbage.
It's the same as movies. There's no good Christmas movies.
Some of them are Bible games too. I found that there's this whole genre on the PlayStation Network of Bible games, which
incredible.
More power to you. Everyone deserves a bit of interactive entertainment. But yeah, so I did come across one game, which we're going to touch on. But I will say, last year, before Mitch joined the show, I did do a video. You can find it on the YouTube. I'm pretty sure there's an audio podcast version of it as well, where I reviewed 6 odd video games, you know, Christmassy video games.
Festive,
if you will. And I will, and I do. But yeah, no, and look, go and check out that video. There's actually some really cool ones in there. I did find a game I wanted to play, which I was showing Mitchell some of the Twitch footage of, because I didn't stream it. Christmas Massacre. Was the bargain Christmas game I opted to play this year. I watch Home Alone, I watch The Muppets Christmas Carols, and then I have a Christmas Massacre.
Of course, that's just how it works.
Exactly, it is.
Any God-fearing Christian does it in that order.
I'm just, I'm all about the holiday traditions. I always have been. And taking revenge for the orphanage children who would not allow me to take part in the Silent Night dance party is one of those traditions. So let me explain Christmas Massacre to you.
I mean, it sounds like we know what it is based on the tin, but go on.
Yeah, well, look,
expand.
I thought, like a horror Christmas game could be kind of fun. Like, it could be kind of fun. But what I got was, how do I describe this? Disturbing.
The music was very disturbing. It definitely set the ambiance.
It was, because there's these. Let's talk about that for a second.
The violins.
Yeah, there's this it's Silent Night that's playing.
That's what it was.
But like, it's not actually Silent Night. It's just like.
I'm so sorry, listeners.
Just trying to drown out the DJ booths in the studio.
Oh, the kennel goes off next door.
Yeah, the kennel. So anyway, you play as Larry. Larry, in the opening of the game, has been told by the nun that runs his orphanage that he's been a little shit and he's not allowed to join the Christmas party. Larry, a weird little naked man wearing a Santa hat, leaves his room. And basically, you get told, you hear this weird little voice say, "There's a knife in the kitchen, Larry." And then you find the kitchen, you find the knife, you find the weird, creepy Christmas party that's happening downstairs, all in like low PS1 polygon style graphics.
It was giving like Cahoots, like Creation Maker energy.
Yeah. This was a homebrew game from 1994.
Yeah.
And it was like that VHS kind of
loved it, by the
grain.
Way. Yeah, the view of it was all like VHS-y, kind of like that the graining quality, which I think really adds to
created a a bit of atmosphere.
It really did. I loved it because
Yeah.
we'll have a little Mitchell's horror movie buff side in a minute, but it was very like classic horror movie energy, but it also covered up some of the rougher edges of the graphics, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
It was a nice flair.
You could turn that off if you wanted to.
Oh, could you?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd make the game look weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It looked much better as it was, but you need to play, brightness up, darkness down, or close the curtains so you can see it. Anyway, long story short, you kill the nun and everyone else in the orphanage. Fast forward to Larry as an older man. He somehow escaped any kind of repercussions from murdering the whole orphanage. And Larry lives in a house that looks like a bit of a crack den, and he has a Christmas tree that talks to him.
Yeah.
And the Christmas tree basically says, Larry, there's been a lot of naughty people this year, and I need you to go and kill them. Kill.
Direct quote.
Kill. And by the way, whilst you're at it, please do some killing. And then level after level of entering people's houses and senselessly murdering them.
Yep.
With the only kind of objective being murder without being caught.
Is there an end to the game, or did you not get that far?
Oh, I didn't get that far. Like, I probably it's $14.95 on the PlayStation Network, by the way.
A steal.
Yeah, and I probably spent about 40 minutes on it. And it's very repetitive.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it had too much of substance.
Yeah. So there's a little shadow meter. So you stick to the shadows, and so if you can see how visible you are to whoever it is you're trying to hunt and
Your
kill.
little Skyrim hidden.
Yeah,
thing.
but if you get seen, you don't necessarily. The game doesn't end straight away. You just you wind up. They run away, and you've got about 10 seconds to kill them before they alert the authorities or something along those lines. And it's not like the worst thing. It's just maybe
Didn't look like it.
But the themes of it are disturbing.
Yeah, well, there we go. Nice segue. I'll bring up my little soapbox issue. I'm a massive horror movie buff.
Yeah.
So from when I saw the game spot on, I was like, I see the inspiration. I understand the reference. It's Black Christmas, which is like a very like B movie
I know
style.
Black Christmas, yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Very disturbing, as the game is as well. It was a little bit not psycho. It was a little bit Halloween. You start as a small child, you brutalize a room full of people, and then you inevitably also go on. It was also a little bit of, there's a film called The Black Coat's Daughter. It's got Shannon Kipker in it, the girl who plays Sabrina from Sabrina the Netflix show. And it has, I forgot her name, Emma Roberts. Anyway, it's a really good movie, highly recommend. But in that, a furnace talks to her in like the similar voice. It's very like, you need to go kill them all. And she's like, okay.
Sounds like a plan for the holidays.
It gave me a little bit of that, which was very disturbing. The sound was really, really good. Yeah, I thought it looked really good for what it was. I think $14 might be a little bit high for it.
Maybe $6.
Yeah, maybe $6.
Go on your Christmas killing spree. But part of me as I was playing it was sort of like, there is a darkness to this that's almost a little too dark.
It was a bit dark. It had there was no other objective other than to brutally murder people.
Yeah.
And when you killed them, they exploded into blood and gore.
Yeah, but it's just like here you are as this sociopath and
Clearly having a mental episode because a Christmas tree is talking to him and telling him to kill.
Yeah, and so it's problematic,
But it's festive.
Look, I'm not even going to bother with make it gay on this one because
No characters have personality. They don't even have faces. They didn't even have a face.
Some of the people you murdered were a little,
It was the 80s.
Well,
it's set in the 80s, isn't it?
Yeah, 1957 was when it started in the orphanage.
Yeah, when you were a
and then
little child.
Yeah, and then it was at some point in the 70s or the 80s.
Yeah, everyone was a little gay in the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, there were some funny moments like when you sneak into people's houses to kill them and they're having a little Christmas Eve dance party. And one of them's like, whoa, I'm really fucked up. Like, they're all taking drugs at Christmas.
Yeah, and they're all flailing.
So they deserve to be stabbed for taking drugs.
Another horror movie cliche. They've committed sin and therefore they die.
That was the theme. I think I kind of picked up that there were people who were being killed in the game who Larry perceived as some sort of...
They were naughty.
So, they were naughty. Yeah, they were taking drugs.
They were going against God.
Exactly. They were watching Channel 7. They were like...
Oh, sorry, it just sent a shiver down my spine.
And not even Jane Buns Weather, but we're not going to go into Jane
I love
Bun.
Jane Bunn, by the way.
I know.
Massive fan.
Oh, love it to death. Anyway, so look, Christmas Massacre. If you're a total sociopath yourself, look, this could be a way of getting all of that out without letting the rest of society know.
Yeah.
So, thumbs up.
If you
to
want to
that.
kill people celebrating Christmas in a not God-honoring way, it's the game for you.
So something that we've been doing, though, apart from senselessly murdering people in their homes, is...
Don't take that out of context.
Don't take that out of context. Virtually senselessly murdering people in their homes. Is we've been doing a little bit of free-to-play.
We're back.
We are back.
And it's less story-driven and more PvP.
Yeah. So, Mitch, why don't you tell us about what we've been playing?
So we've been playing the hotly anticipated and very controversial, some could say. I would say controversial, but it's
You
because
just did, yeah.
I'm a big fan of the game that came before it. Marvel Rivals.
Marvel based on the Marvel.
Yeah,
The
so-
Marvel comic book universe.
A specific point of it, though, it's not based on the MCU, it's based on the comics, which I personally think is good because I have been getting some Marvel fatigue. Last Marvel movie that I saw...
So is everyone for the
Yeah.
last 20 years, but, you know.
The last Marvel movie I saw in cinemas was Endgame, and I was like, okay, I'm putting a full stop there. And the last TV show I watched was Loki, but that's because it's like quirky and weird,
Yeah.
and I have not digested any Marvel media since.
What's okay, we won't even go into the... So
That's another podcast.
Marvel Rivals. So this falls into the category of a hero shooter. Now, I know of the hero shooter genre going all the way back to the early 2000s, which is Team Fortress 2.
I never played it.
Which is, it's always a team-based multiplayer experience where there are different types of characters you can take on. There is a tank character, which is usually someone that is slow, can take a lot of damage, but can also deal a lot of damage, but it's quite clumsy.
Yeah, they take a lot of the attention away from the damage dealers.
Yeah. Then there's support, which doesn't necessarily deal as much damage, but is very good at healing and propping up and buffing, as if you will.
Yep. And if you play a support character, you're gay.
Yeah. When we play, we're just like, who's Loki?
Who wants to be Loki? But
And we are gay. So
fun fact, I don't know if you guys were. I don't know if they knew that about us.
yeah, exactly. So if the fleshlight fits. Anyway, so you've got your support character. You've got now. There was a term that we've got tank. We've got support. There was a term that you used that I was completely unfamiliar, which is damage per second.
DPS.
DPS.
Yes.
Every time we were playing, and Mitch and our friend Stuart kept saying Dave's DPS, I thought they were flirting with me, but no, that means
We were looking at DP.
yeah, DPS apparently just is someone who shoots and causes a lot of damage.
They're a damage character.
They're a damage character.
Their job is to deal damage. So it almost works in like a cyclical Pokemon way. Shout out to you, Stuart, bringing it back to Pokemon, where the tank is very good against support, but very weak to damage. The support is usually pretty good against damage because they have the buffs that they can provide, and then the damage is good against tanks. They almost go in like a cyclical way. So
it's just the three.
it's just the three.
Yeah.
They have a specific name for it in Marvel Rivals, which I had to write down because it wasn't very good for me to understand. So instead of tank, they're called a Vanguard. Which I guess makes sense because they're supposed to lead the pack. They're supposed to support the team as like a defensive person. As a DPS, you're called a Duelist, which a Yu-Gi-Oh reference perhaps.
Yes.
And then instead of support, they're called strategists, which I don't know fits them super well. One character I believe could be a strategist, Loki, because he has an interesting play style. But the rest of them, they just do support. They buff, they do damage, they buff people's damages. Anyway, so
Was changing the name of these like literally the only original thing that this game did?
yeah, we're going to get into it a little bit later, but this is literally just a reskin of Overwatch. And to be fair, Overwatch is just a reskin of all the games that came before it. They're not reinventing the wheel, so let's not throw mud. But this is Overwatch.
We're here to review this game. We're going to throw some mud.
True. And to be fair, I don't have too much mud to throw. So.
Well, and here's the interesting thing. Let's pull that thread a little bit, shall we? So I am familiar with the Overwatch craze.
Yes.
I never really got into it.
See, I was a massive Overwatch player.
Yeah.
Loved it.
But I do know that this is basically Overwatch with a Marvel coat of paint.
Correct. They have some things that differentiate it. One of the things that I really love, and this is just me and this is just how I play games, is that Overwatch is a first-person game, and I always find them very disorienting, especially when they're as fast-paced as Overwatch. Overwatch is a very fast-paced game, same as Marvel Rivals, whereas Marvel Rivals is a third-person game, which to me is much better for my brain. It lets me have a little bit more visuals. I find it easier to aim, XYZ. But also, there are some characters in Marvel Rivals, like Spider-Man, per se, where you are fucking flipping about the map. So if this was a first-person game, you would puke. Star-Lord, who you've played, he does that thing where he's like doing a 360. If you were first-person with that, you'd puke.
Yeah. Look, look, I think going the third person view over the first person was a really clever idea for this game, because you're dealing with such a recognizable universe of characters. You want to look at them, you want to see all the pretty skins.
You want to look at Venom's incredibly chiseled glutes, by the way.
Exactly. Now, Overwatch has been around since 2016.
Yeah.
However, it's not necessarily an original concept itself. Like I said, Team Fortress 2 definitely has this kind of market. Well, was doing this.
That was the framework.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, where you've got these different kind of archetypes of characters. And as I said, as someone who never got into Overwatch, it's surprising that Marvel Rivals has come out so late in the piece, because there's been lots of other games in this genre. I mean, you've got things like Apex Legends, which is a little bit more of a battle royale kind of experience, which, that and Fortnite, they are a slightly different experience.
They're a similar coat of paint, but they're a different car. Does that make sense?
Sure.
A weird analogy, but it's they are
free to play online
multiplayer game that you play with your friends, and it's all about battling, and you have different attributes, but they are like you mentioned, they're more like a battle royale, whereas this is very much a team-oriented game, which is another thing that I think Marvel Rivals does a really good job of differentiating from, is that in Overwatch, you are just an individual character, you battle. In this game, you have cute little team-up bonuses. And I think that adds a little bit of fresh tissue to this game that makes it seem not as carbon copy. It is, let me be frank, it is a carbon copy of Overwatch. It has some deviations, and there's some different traits that make it better. This is one of them. The team up abilities are very, very good. They're also very broken.
Yeah.
There's one where we often play Loki, Stuart, our friend, will play Hela, and I'll sometimes play Thor. And if Hela kills an enemy, we just get revived.
Yeah.
Scot-free. So there's an incentive to play with a team and work collaboratively, which is not as Overwatchy, because Overwatch, you don't have any pair-up abilities. There's no such thing.
Yeah.
So I think it increases that connection and collaboration that I don't think Overwatch ever has, which we find quite fun. I always thought it was fun, but it doesn't punish you for not playing the characters you need. It's just an extra bonus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's a good thing to do if you're playing with friends, which is what I've really enjoyed. It's an online multiplayer game, which I am really enjoying playing with my dear friend here.
My dear friend. Also, and Stuart. Hi, Stuart.
And Stuart.
And shout out to Warren and his friends as well, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. It's the first time in a while that I've had a good, fun community of people to play games with. We've started a Bargain Bin Gaymer Discord, separate from the BQN Discord. If you'd like to be a part of it, let us know. We'll send you the link.
We can play.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a couple of people joining off our Instagram. It's good fun.
Yes.
And we are jumping in and I've not had so much fun playing a game online like this. Now, I imagine that, as someone who was really into Overwatch, though, you had that experience of Overwatch. So give me your, how is this experience comparing for you? Are you able to forgive just the blatant rip-off that it is?
I mean, listen, I only shill for one game and one game only, and that's Pokemon. I don't have any love lost from Overwatch. I personally think Overwatch fell off quite a bit. Controversial take, by the way. Ooh. But a lot of Overwatch people feel similar, where when they released the sequel, Overwatch 2, it just wasn't really what they wanted. They
got terrible reviews.
It did, unfortunately, but also Overwatch is such a, and this is a benefit. This is maybe a hindsight benefit, but Overwatch has become so competitive that now that we have this new game, it's not as competitive. I don't feel as stressed. I don't feel as like worried. And as classic gays, we play support characters mostly. I'm not much of a DPS, and neither are you. You play like 1 or 2 DPS, and I play like 1.
I don't mind playing Star-Lord and Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, you're good at Winter Soldier.
But I love playing as Loki.
Yeah, support characters are the gays' bread and butter, which is very apparent. But also in Overwatch, there's such a skill ceiling to it at the moment that it's very hard to just pick up now. Whereas because this is a new game, it's still being honed. It's a bit rough around the edges. A lot of the characters are very overpowered and they will be nerfed. But I'm almost having like a second virginity. I've closed back up because I haven't played Overwatch for so long, and now I'm getting to re-experience it again. So to me, there's no love loss. I personally think this game is great, but it has the benefit of I know who almost all these characters. I have a connection to these characters.
Yeah.
Overwatch, they have an uphill battle where they introduce a brand new character and you got to get behind them. And you either like them or you don't. There's no two ways about it. Whereas me, I can crack open Marvel Rivals and I'm like, oh, look, it's Iron Man. I know Iron Man. And I can then have an immediate attachment to that character. Loki is one of my favorite Marvel characters because I think they're really cool. So of course I wanted to play them. And now we both clearly like that character and we've gotten quite good at them. So it's less of a strategic, oh, we're going to need to have this person. It's, well, I'm playing with my favorites and I'm really good at all of them. So to me, I find it a bit more exciting because I'm not filling a role. I'm playing with a bunch of my favorites that could fit the role. I have a bit more of an attachment. So what about you? You haven't played one of these games before. So what is your virginal opinion?
Well, I mean, I just want to say how honored I am to be a part of your second virginity.
You're welcome.
My
first hole was for God and this one's.
Well, leave room for Jesus. I'm surprised that you can even remember your first virginity.
There's some guy out there who was twice my age that definitely remembers it, but
so he was 28. Anyway, so yes, and I have played Overwatch. I got into it late, right? Because it was not always a free game.
Overwatch?
It didn't start as a free game, did it?
No, not to my knowledge. I've always paid for Overwatch.
Yeah, but it's free. It's free to play now.
Is it really?
It is a free to play.
I've paid for both of them.
I am pretty sure if you know the answer to that question, please email bargainbinggamer@gmail.com.
Or comment below if you're watching the video.
Or comment on the YouTube. So yes, I came into it late in the piece and was just like, this is too hard, this is too much. And friends I knew who played it had long since gotten over it.
It's because of the skill ceiling that I mentioned. It's because it became such a fad. No. You almost get bumped out of being able to enter it because the skill ceiling is so high.
Yes, exactly. And it's really, really hard because everyone knows the characters in that game from, inside and out. Yeah. So for me, getting into this from day one has been really, really exciting because I am skilling up at the same time as the rest of the community.
Yeah.
And what is probably helping a lot is the fact that you're playing with me.
Yeah, of course. It's the game is built around, and like I said, there's features literally designed in it to include your friends, but the game is begging to be played with a group of people that you're friendly with. You're not going to be in the same room because you can only play on one person per console, but it begs to be played with friends and experience with people. So
exactly.
It lends itself to that.
And more and more people are getting curious about it because we're playing it together.
Yeah, we posted about it and I had like fucking 12 people message me being like, oh my God, is it any good?
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, wait and listen to my podcast, bitch.
Exactly. And now we've got the Discord going. We've got a group chat. I'll be on the train on the way home from work and I get messages from this one saying like, hey, let's play tonight. And it's taking me back to an era of online gaming that I have really not got to experience for quite some time, right? So when I first got into online gaming back in the mid to early 2000s, it was all Xbox Live,
of course,
Halo and the old school CODs and all that, and Gears of War. And I had friends who we'd play with, but we've all grown up and they're all straight men who are now married and have kids and wives that don't let them do anything.
Oh yeah, that's fun. That's why you got to have the gays.
Yeah, exactly. So that is really, really exciting for me. And of course, this being the Bargain Bin Gaymer, I love what a polished package this is as a free to play game.
Yeah.
And the amount of content that I have available to me. How many characters do you get straight up?
They've started with 33 and they have announced that they will be bringing more. So this is like Davey was just saying, and I'll expand upon it, but you're right. There's 33 characters. That's 33 different playstyles. And they're all very different. Like, they're not super similar. Obviously, maybe like the DPS might be a bit more.
Yeah.
It's harder to differentiate there. But like all of the strategists and all of the Vanguard, they're all very different playstyles, which I find super refreshing. Overwatch is really good at that. Like, I'm not saying that they're not. But the maps are all very good. Yeah. The design of the game is very polished. It's got destructible environments and things like that, which I think is a great attention to detail. Obviously, like, they're not changing the game with the missions. There's like a capture the point, there's a move the payload, and there's, I think that's it. Is that the 2?
Yeah. Okay. So
like, it's not, we're not glutton for choice or anything, but for a free game.
For a free game on launch, there's enough there. But you can, to what you're saying, you do run into the like, oh yeah, this is free, and I'm getting what I pay for.
I'm in the same map again.
Exactly. Yeah, that's probably the downside of what they've done is they're hooking you on a couple of very simple game modes, which are I do remember playing these kind of game modes. And Overwatch, like you said, you've got the get the little vehicle from point A to point B. You've got the capture the flag style mode, and then you've got Conquest, which is a team deathmatch.
Of course.
But then actually, as of today, they've released the special Christmas game mode where everyone plays as Jeff the Shark, and it's a rip-off of Splatoon, where you've just basically got to try and cover the ground with as much paint as possible.
Very cute. But and this is something that we spoke about off the pod, but these kind of games, they might not be Christmas games, but they do great seasonal events. Halloween Overwatch was my jam. Every time Halloween, anyone who's ever played Overwatch, you get it.
Yeah.
Halloween for Overwatch, they'd always have Junkenstein's Revenge, which was always like a fantastic game mode, and they always had great skins, which is something I was going to bring up, which is this game, you don't actually need to spend any money to be not only very good, but also have a lot of fun. But if you want to spend the money, you can. We played with our friend Stuart's friend Tim. Shout out to Tim, by the way.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
But Tim got so obsessed with the game that he wanted to buy skins for every character because he wanted to have different skins.
Yeah, so you're moving into the territory of like, okay, cool, so what can you actually pay for in this game to enhance the experience? And it's really all aesthetics, which has been very much the trend in free-to-play. It's moved away from free-to-win quite a long time
I think
ago.
There was such a violent backlash about that kind of thing. So I think game companies took the memo.
And what I have found is that, there are achievements and daily quests which earn rewards. I've been able to buy skins and extra bits and pieces without actually having to spend any real world money.
Well, that's the thing. Like, that's why or any criticism that I have for this game, whether it be slight or not, I want everyone to take that with a grain of salt because this is a free game that I've been able to download. I have had to put no financial compensation into this game, and I'm still having lots of fun. So any criticism that I may or may not have, it's still coming with that caveat of, well, I got it for free. Yeah. So it's no hip pocket cost. The only thing that I'm giving this game is my time. Yeah. But this time I get to spend with my friends, so it's already a benefit.
Well, one of the reasons why I'm surprised I have not got into this type of game before is it doesn't actually demand huge amounts of my time.
Nope.
So even this morning, I had maybe 40 minutes between walking my dog and having to get ready to come and get smashed on margaritas.
Of course.
And do the podcast.
Yes, of course. That's what we were doing.
Exactly. And I played a couple of games, and that was when I was like, oh, okay, all the Christmas content is out, and there's Christmas skins to buy, and there's the Jeff the Shark Christmas game, and all the music is now. You haven't actually played it yet?
I turned it on because I was thinking about playing it, but then I had to try and get as pretty as I possibly could.
So cool. And I'm like, well, this is something I could see myself getting into for the long haul because it, like when we did the Genshin Impact review, which is a game that's come a very long way.
Yes.
And you can tell and it's almost a little overwhelming when you come into it late.
Yeah.
It falls into the games as a service category, which is very much banking on getting people hooked in and creating a community of people that will continue to play this game. And look forward to they release seasons, which is
season passes
and content packages based on seasons, which will be new maps or update, and they'll change existing maps. And you can buy a battle pass each season, which gives you again just lots of cool aesthetic things. And the same thing goes to what I said with Genshin Impact is, you know what, I would probably happily give the developers of this game a little bit of money after a while for some cool stuff, not too much, but a bit. A bit, because I've had a great time playing this game for free up until this point. And look, whether you feel okay about the fact that it's ripping off a franchise that is at this point nearly 7 or 8 years old, is totally up to you, right? But it's not done it on the cheap.
No,
it's
very well done.
It is extremely well done, and it's extremely fun to play. These characters I'm not even that big on Marvel, but these characters are very recognizable.
Yes, I mean, Stuart's probably the most Marvel friend of our group, but I've never read any of the comics. My only introduction to Marvel was through the movies because I'm a loser.
Yeah.
Or I'd watch the cartoons as a kid. But even now, I get to see characters like, so an example, they've redone a lot of the characters. So Star-Lord, who's the only DPS character I'm any good at because he's very easy. He looks completely different from the Peter Quill that's in the MCU, which I think is a very smart maneuver because you've obviously got that Marvel fatigue that we mentioned earlier. So differentiating yourself and basing it off the comics is good because it brings on MCU fans because they're like, oh, look at this different version of the game. But also hardcore comic fans, they're like, oh, finally, good representation of these characters. And they're all represented fantastically. Like Psylocke, who in the fucking X-Men movies, shout out to Olivia Munn, by the way, big fan.
Thanks.
I know you're watching.
Yeah, love
but
your work.
In the Marvel comics, to my knowledge, she's always been a woman of Japanese descent. So in the game, she's Japanese. Very simple, very easily done. It doesn't dissuade people who have seen the MCU movies or the X-Men movies because you still recognize the character, but you're honoring the actual character itself. And that's why I think they've tweaked it in such a perfect way where they've represented these characters in a very honorable way and honored their history, but still is very accessible to everyone.
Look, I think they're onto something really, really good with this because like I said, it's a very recognizable stable of characters, but they're doing a little bit of something for all fans of the Marvel universe because whether you've just seen a couple of the movies or you are deeply involved in the comic books, you know who these characters are.
Yeah.
And, for example, I play a lot as Loki and I saved up some of my gems and got the Loki season 2 skin because it just... So the movie and TV universe
They're still
is
in
there.
Yeah.
But the core experience is this. It is a very Marvel comic book universe experience.
So I was actually just going to speak about that, where it's not like it's casting aside the media that it's also from. It's pulling from all different variants. So it's got some Loki season 2, which I think is great because I've seen Loki season 2. I thought it was good. But you have some really obscure characters like Cloak and Dagger. Never heard of them in my whole life.
Yeah.
They have a very rich tapestry in Marvel Comics. And not only do they make them, not only do they spotlight them as a character, it makes me want to understand them more. So it's building more connection. I get to know about their history. I know that this fantastic character from the comics. They might not be represented in the TV shows or the movies, but they're represented here, which I think is the prime medium for Marvel characters because they're all a bit wacky. They're a bit hard to realistically generate in live action. So in a game like this, I think this breathes life into potentially some old characters. But yeah, the roster is really stacked with a mix of people as well.
And they've characterized them really well. Like there's lots of little moments where you're waiting for a match to start and two characters will have a little bit of banter with each other.
That's a very Overwatch thing as well.
One of the interesting things I think will be to see how it plays out is the community
100%.
around the game, right? So before we even get into Make It Gay, so something that one of our Instagram followers said to me, a gentleman who's also now joined our Discord, is that the community in Overwatch is a little toxic.
Yeah, so that's something that I experienced. I never played it at like a fancy level or anything. I'm not really that good at that kind of game, especially because it's first person, so I find it a little disorienting. But yeah, there's obviously that massive skill gap where you don't even feel comfortable playing any kind of ranked matches because you get stuck with people and you feel like dead weight, which is never good. But also it's almost getting a little coddy where it's like there's a bit of slurs, there's a bit of racism, there's a lot of misogyny in Overwatch, which is interesting for Overwatch because it's a very represented game. Like a lot of the characters are female or, they're queer. Like there's a character in Overwatch that's objectively, they are like non-binary.
Yeah.
And so you'd think, Blizzard is pushing such representation, but I guess
it's not represented in the player base.
Unfortunately not. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. And like I said, Marvel fanboys can often be very vocal, but also very white and straight. So we'll see how that pans out. But based on the people that I know that play it, they seem pretty cool. I have seen some interesting gamer names.
Yeah, that was something I wanted to touch on. And this is where... So what's the name of the company that's developed this?
Good question. Hang on.
You had that written
I have a
down.
little fun fact about them as well.
We were talking about that.
So they are called NetEase Incorporated.
Yeah, so NetEase Incorporated and the community managers behind this game, they've got an interesting task ahead of them. I think about... So Apex Legends is a game I dabbled with a little bit recently because they are quite dedicated to a fair, diverse and inclusive and safe place for people to play. Some early signs of that not taking place in Marvel have started to rear their head, and it's mostly around the names that people choose for themselves. As a cross-platform game, which is great, me on PlayStation can play with people on PC and Xbox all at the same time. However, please let me take my saves across platforms. Cannot do just yet because I have got a PlayStation and an Xbox and a PC all in different rooms. I want to be able to play without moving them around.
You heard us.
Anyway, that's a slight tangent, but you and I have talked about this while we've been playing, and we're in the safety of our Discord chat. So, it's not overly affecting us, but we have seen names that are anti-Semitic.
Yep.
We have seen names that are racist, and just names where it's just... One of them was called 9/11 was cool.
Of course.
Like, fuck off.
And he was the worst person on our team, by the way. And I'm saying he because I know it's a he.
Yeah, of course, right? And it'll just be that fucking normal, like, straight guys going, oh, I don't condone.
Yeah.
Because it was funny. Because it
was so funny. But I know people that like Overwatch and have dropped off it because they're like, well, it's too toxic. I just don't have the time to do it anymore. It's too competitive, blah, blah, blah. This game will probably go that way. It'll probably become competitive. It might become an esport, XYZ.
Well, there's a competitive mode that unlocks after level 10, which I haven't touched. But
we could give it a go, but like, I don't play this game at the moment to be competitive. I'm not trying to be competitive. I think quick matches are fine. They don't affect any rank or anything like that. There's no fun. There's no stakes. I don't have any stakes in this game. And that's what I like about games. I can turn it off and it doesn't affect the rest of my life.
It took you the better part of a week just to stop playing against AI. So.
I know. I'm not very good. It's because of my Overwatch lifestyle, because I was so used to playing Overwatch.
Overwatch lifestyle.
It's because I was so used to playing Overwatch and I had to be really good at it or else people would like trash you. So I wanted to start and practice against AI because I wanted to get good.
Right, fair enough.
And my friends were, Davey and Stuart, were like, come on, we'll just play. And I'm like, wait, I don't want to have some 16-year-old call me an F slur because I'm not healing enough. I have to keep doing that.
Which is why we stay in our Discord.
Yeah. I would not be, I'm not ridiculous enough to go on the chat.
But mind you, I mean, you get the text chat on the side, which is mostly people who are playing on PC. Yeah. But I don't. People aren't really communicating openly in the games.
I think it's mostly people in their own little chats.
Yeah. Back in the day when online gaming first became a thing, I remember playing like COD 2 on the Xbox. People chatted all the time.
Yeah,
and in a good way. I made friends and we communicated, and it was great. It just doesn't happen. I mean, these games have angled themselves in a way that where you don't really need to communicate, right? Like,
you've got that where you don't really need to communicate because there's plenty of stuff on the screen that will notify what's going on. But also, like, these games are now coming at an era where we all have phones in our pockets at every second of every day. We've always got an internet connection pretty much every second of every day. So we don't need the game to provide us with a voice feature. We've got a million different ways to talk to our friends if we wanted to. So they don't really need to do that. They've got the chat feature, which, like you mentioned, doesn't really get utilized that much, except for at the end we get a little GG.
Yeah.
I love a GG. Thanks, teammate. I'll give you an upvote.
Yeah, you get little thumbs up. You do little thumbs up to players.
That's another. Yeah. That's another massive Overwatch thing, which is why people love playing these games. Is because at the end of the game you get MVP instead of being what's it called in Overwatch, like Spotlight or something. Whatever, who cares? But you get like play of the game. My apologies. Where like they'll highlight a specific player for their skills, and you can like check the players and see like what their highlights were. And even if you're not on the winning team, you also get an SVP, which is kind of like MVP for the losing team. It's quite nice, and you get to thumbs up each other, which is what you do in Overwatch as well, which is called endorsing in Overwatch. But
well, look, I hope all of this leads to a community that is fun and supportive and good to play with. I like it. I mean, you can't control just the cesspool that is humanity and the kind of people who play video games en masse at times.
Yeah.
But, look, I have hope.
I do. I mean, I think, like you said, it's going to be a teething issue. I think there will be a problem before it gets solved. I don't think there's any way to prevent it from happening. Yeah. I think, unfortunately, when you don't have really an age restriction on a video game, you'll get 15-year-old kids who think it's cool and edgy to say slurs, which fair enough. That's okay. I'll fuck your mum. Don't stress. But oh no, I'll fuck their dad. Oh yeah, and
yeah.
I would,
Yeah,
by the
yeah,
way.
yeah.
But the way that it'll work is figuring out what that will look like and how the community will blossom, and whether it's worthwhile us taking like a Discord and all of our friends into that or keeping it separate. Because I'll still enjoy the game if I don't need to talk to anyone. But if it becomes like a fun game, the example that I've had, because I've been noticing it, call me young, call me whatever, I have TikTok. There's been so much on TikTok about this game. It's everywhere. It's all over the TikTok, and it's great. There's some really great memes about Luna Snow and her like ultimate, because she does like a little K-pop dance, and everyone's putting like K-pop music on it. It's very fun. There's obviously plays of the game like Jeff the Shark, where he gets to like get everyone and like take them off the map and stuff. I think it's going in a good way, but I do worry.
People, For now, people are having fun with it. And I like what Discord has done for online gaming communities is, you can have your nice little safe space.
My little safe space.
Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. We're in there with Stuart and Tim, and then we bring Warren and Jake from the Gamers in as well.
Yep.
And, what if they're saying anything on the other team or whatever, then we can't hear them.
We're ambivalent to it. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. So let's dive into Make It Gay. So
popular. Sorry.
Tell me something about this game that isn't gay as fuck.
It's very gay. It's very camp. To be fair, Overwatch is super camp as well. It's kind of the nature of the beast of oh god.
The Marvel
their name is really hard to remember.
The Marvel universe has made a bit of an effort to be
very queer and inclusive, but also people of color inclusive.
Yeah,
You've got Storm.
I only know this because the anti-woke brigade goes so nuts because
Every time
a
there's
movie is
anything.
called Black Panther.
Yeah.
Like, why they gotta be black?
They're
Like,
so stupid.
It's
It's so dumb.
honestly,
It sounds like a South Park episode whenever I think about it.
What is fucking wrong with you? Right.
These Marvel characters have had decades and decades of fleshed out backgrounds, cultural impact, like Storm. I mentioned it really briefly just before, but Storm is a cultural icon. Powerful, black, female, goddess.
The queer community has always seen a lot in the X-Men.
Yeah, true.
Always.
X-Men
seen
is a
lot in it.
fantastic allegory. Oh my God, sorry. I have to bring it up. So there's an achievement, sidebar, speaking of queer, there's an achievement that I got while playing Magneto, and I've seen it on TikTok as well, where if you defend, I think it's if you defend or get an assist with 10 mutant characters, you get an achievement called Homo Superior.
Oh.
That's me.
Yes.
I'm Homo Superior.
That's
which
right.
is quite
Stuart
funny.
and I thought you were making that up. And
I wasn't.
You had to send us a screenshot.
It was very
of
funny.
it, just-
But you are right. Queer people have always seen themselves in X-Men. Of course, it's a great allegory for being queer. So people like Storm, Magneto, and Wolverine. Who else? Is there any others?
Well, you were talking about Loki before, and you said they. Is Loki? Is Loki they them?
Loki is canonically gender fluid.
Right,
And
okay.
fun fact, did a bit of research before this episode. Look at us go. On the Marvel Rivals wiki, which is, I assume, all the information's gotten from the website, they are listed as they, them as well. Because in the comic, because they technically don't really have like a form, they technically show themselves as male, but like they just change all the time. They have relationships with everyone. So I always call Loki they, them. And they represented it in Loki where a version of Loki was a girl and they were in love with each other. So, but you've also got characters like Adam Warlock. He's technically a man, but he's like a synthetic generated man who has Ken doll parts. So he's not really a man in that respect. He's genetically created. You've got characters like, I can't really think of them now.
Let me pull it back a bit then. So you and I know the mythos behind these characters.
Yes, well, some.
And like the X-Men and all that, where there is a queerness to them. Are we seeing that in the game?
I would say yes and no. So everyone is very camp in the game. Are there any overtly queer people? No. They're technically not, and I don't really expect it.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with you there. I think that whilst it may not being said, there is certainly
Queerness.
Campness.
It's camp, yeah.
It's camp. And comic book universes are camp as fuck. And
They also made a lot of the characters unnecessarily very hot, which makes me very happy. So if you look at Magneto and Thor, they are big boys.
Oh yeah,
And they have big beards, and they look like they might call me a slur.
And look, I guess the good thing about it is that there's a lot more to come. You know, this game's been out for a handful of weeks.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to get a big release like this so close to Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm on board. I think as long as you and our other friends are playing together, it'll still be something that we can just keep continuing to pick up.
Yeah.
I really hope that this goes in a strong positive direction. Rip off of other franchises aside, whatever, like movies and TV shows and music of it's all evolutions of existing content anyway.
Nothing's original anymore.
I think this is a look. I recommend it.
Yeah, I think it's a gem. And
Yeah.
To back up what Davey's probably about to say, it only asks for your time, and the time that you spend on it is fun. So there's no real downside to it, at least at the moment.
And it's not feeling broken.
No.
It's come out. I mean, yeah, sure. Like it's a little thin on the ground in terms of maps and gameplay.
Some of the maps do look a bit samey,
but
that's
you're
okay.
not paying for it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's free, and more will come.
Yeah.
Or more has already come for free. I was so excited to turn it on this morning and be like, "Oh, it's all Christmassy!
It's all Christmassy.
It's changed."
But this is the thing that happened with Overwatch, where the game came out, it had a certain amount of characters. They're going to inevitably add more characters. I'm pretty sure there's leaks out there that I saw where there's more characters being added. They're going to have to tune characters as well. Some of them are very strong. The game is in its infancy.
Yeah.
And it's seeing success already, which I think that they can ride off. Hopefully they don't introduce any of like the loot box systems, which I think the reasons we don't see them anymore is because I think they were like didn't someone take them to court or something? Like a game company. I'm not saying Overwatch. But, EA. But yeah, I hope they don't go that way. I hope that the pay portion of this game is solely aesthetic. Because I'm happy with the base skins. I don't give a fuck. If I really like a character, I'll go and pay the money for it. But you shouldn't be able to pay for like levels or any bonus skills or anything. Hopefully that always stays out.
And leveling up doesn't really bother me that much because I've got a profile on my Xbox and a profile on my PS5. One of them is lower level than the other, and I don't really care because I'm still just having fun playing the same game.
Yeah.
Anyway, join us for Marvel Rivals,
Please.
right? So if you want to join the Discord, please let us know, and we will give you the invite link for the Bargain Bin Gaymer Discord. Now, it is, as time of recording, it is only a few days out from Christmas. This episode will release just a few days before Christmas as well. Mitch, my dear co-host.
Oh my God.
I have a Christmas present for you.
He did. I didn't get him one.
But it's related to the show.
Okay. So it's a tax write-off is what he's telling me.
So I've got it here. It was very cheap. So please open this live on the podcast.
Thank you. My co-host Mitch from Davey.
Oh.
A little ASMR for you.
Oh. Now, online, keep going, open it up, yeah. So, it's a game box. Now, do me a favor and just read like the what we got on the side here.
So this is the game box. On the side it says digital game system, 3-inch super wide LCD. The console is slim, portable, and trendy. Digital multi-platform device, can play on TV. The backlit function of the screen ensures players can play everywhere. With powerful rechargeable battery pack, includes an AC adapter and a lithium-ion rechargeable battery. 6 hours of continual gameplay. Wow.
Yeah. So I've been doing some research. There's this big market online at the moment for people who are making these retro consoles
that
are loaded up with emulated games.
Is this the one that I see where I see the ad and it's like, if it has Pokemon Black, I'm getting it?
So here's the thing. I've been doing my research, right? So there are apparently some they're all built on like Linux or Android or something, right?
Yeah.
Running emulators, and they've always got a couple thousand games on. This one's got 400. Now, from what I can understand, the really good ones retail anywhere from $80 to $150 to $200.
Wow.
This is Bargain Bin Gaymer. That cost me $18.
Wow.
I bought myself one too.
A margarita costs almost the exact same amount
on
next door.
catch.com.au, not a sponsor. So we're going to see if we can actually get some good value out of a cheap retro console.
A perfect time for this, by the way, because as time of recording, I'm actually leaving the country in a couple of days. So I may as well take this with me and have a portable game to play in the evening.
And look, I've already had a little bit of a dabble, and all I can say is my first experience is booting the console up and being asked if I want to play in English or Chinese, choosing English, and then the first game was in Chinese anyway.
Of course.
But that was not the case. So Merry Christmas to you.
Thanks. I'll buy you a margarita after this.
Oh, there we go. There we go. We hope you have a wonderful, safe holiday season and that you look after yourself, your families, and your friends, no matter what it is you're doing. You have fun on your holiday in New Zealand, my friend, playing your game box.
Thank you. You're going away a little bit as well. So we'll be having a nice restful period, ready for 2025. Big things coming, I'm sure.
So until then, Happy New Year. I've been Davey.
And I'm Mitch.
And we've been
the Bargain Bin Gamers. Oh my God, Merry Christmas! Happy New Year!
Feliz Navidad. Da, 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 da.
Feliz Navidad.
Da, 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 da. I don't know the words.
Prospero año y felicidad.
Burger rings.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you give it a big thumbs up on YouTube or follow the podcast wherever you get your podcast from and leave us a 5-star review. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky and follow along on our live Twitch streams. You can also continue the conversation in our BQN podcast Discord by clicking the link in the episode description. Don't forget that the Bargain Bin Gaymer is part of a larger network of podcasts called the BQN. You can support this and other BQN programs by becoming a patron over at patreon.com/BQN. We'd love to hear your feedback on the episode. Leave us a comment on YouTube or send us an email to bargainbingaymer, Gaymer, @gmail.com. Until next time, au revoir.
Double T Media.